Hello everyone. So I'm Zoe and I run a performing arts company called Living the Dream, and I'm going to tell you my story about setting up my business when I was 16, and then I'm going to also show you a fun video of one of our flash mobs. So when I was 16, I got into something called the National Youth Theatre, and I needed to raise £2,000 to do an acting course, and at the time I couldn't afford it and my mum couldn't afford it, and I needed to come up with a way to raise the money. So I decided to put on a show. I called it Living the Dream because that's what I hoped one day I'd do with what I would be doing with my life. But also got a group of my friends together, convinced our teacher to give us the theatre for free, and we made it happen. And at the time I saw it as a one-off fundraising project. I never ever realised that I would be here now running this as a full-time business. But we raised double what we needed, and that kind of was the start of everything. So I applied for loads of funding with the council, and it meant that we could put on these shows and expand it out to young people in Hertfordshire and give them affordable access to the arts. And age 17, I was granted £70,000 of funding to make this happen, which was crazy. It was like winning the lottery. I was so young, I didn't know what to do with it, and I made so many stupid mistakes, but it was an incredible experience, and it meant that we could pay a team of teenagers to make it happen. So everybody was feeling incredibly empowered and inspired. So this is kind of where we're at now, some of our highlights, which I'll go through. But I carried on putting on these showcases throughout my A-levels and my degree, doing it in the summer and Easter holidays. And throughout my degree, I basically decided to write 300 letters to celebrities, asking for help, asking for support, and asking for money. And I had 299 letters back saying no, people are too busy, they don't want to help me. And I had one letter back saying yes. And I will never ever forget this day that I rang my mum in hysterics. "Mum, Severus Snape from Harry Potter wants to have lunch with me." Absolute legend. So Alan Rickman took the time to write back, and he offered to have lunch and give me advice. And he helped me basically realise that what I had wasn't just a part-time project anymore. I had a really viable business idea that I could put into action. So when I finished university, I was like, wow, I've got all these kids, and I had like so many people that were on board and incredibly inspired. But a few things happened. One was the government decided to cut arts funding. So we were left with nothing. And I'd been promised a hell of a lot more money to make these projects happen. And that was all gone. And then also for me personally, I had some surgery and I was kind of really ill for a long time, and I was lying on the sofa for about 6 months, feeling really sorry for myself. And it kind of took that dark time for me to bounce back, and I was inspired and saw the T-Mobile flash mob advert. Hands up if you know what I'm talking about, a Liverpool Street station. Yes, cool. And I wanted to do one too. So, picked up the phone to St Pancras International Station in London and pitched the idea of how about 100 dancers turn up at your station and do a flash mob, and you give me some money to make it happen. They were like, all right. So we did. And 2 weeks later, there we were. This was 2010 on New Year's Eve. I'll show you guys a video at the end, hopefully. And it was amazing. We all did it just for charity. So nobody that was in it got paid, and it was a group of professional dancers that I went to university with, but also loads of our students. And the flash mob started going viral. And I didn't really understand what that meant at this point, but everyone was like, well, you've got 2 million views on YouTube. And the phone started ringing. And companies were getting on the phone and saying, hey, we've seen your video, Living the Dream. We'd love you to do a flash mob for us. And we've got a massive budget. How does that sound? I was like, cool, all right, there's a gap in the market for this. And it kind of inspired me to see a way around this lack of funding. And we developed our school. And we've now got 300 students that come every week, and we do street dance, musical theatre, acting, contemporary dance, and it's really different to all of the like normal boring stage schools. We're not expensive, it's run by young people, there's no exams, so there's no pressure. It's all about being empowered and growing confidence and believing in yourself and your dream. And the dance company, we've had some amazing experiences now. So that kind of came out of the flash mob. So this is us performing for the Queen. This is last year, and I'll talk a bit more about Branson in a minute, but you can see his little blonde head floating on the left somewhere. So I have an awkward Queen story. After the performance, I was invited to go and meet her upstairs. So we went into this room, and everyone stands in a circle, and her little chaperone person moves her around the room to meet everybody, whispers in her ear who they are. And they said, "Oh, Queen, this is Zoe from Living the Dream. She just did the dance performance today." And she was like, "Oh, lovely, I love dancing. What are your favourite moves?" I couldn't think of anything apart from the robot, I'm not gonna lie. I literally was like, "Oh yeah," right in front of her, doing the robot, and then she moved on, and I literally was sweating, like, "Zoe, what have you done? Like, most important woman ever, and you just cracked out the robot." So that was me being really awkward. So this is us, again, at St Pancras. We did a flash mob for an ITV programme, which was really cool. We performed at Wembley Arena early this year, which was amazing. And this was alongside Ellie Goulding and Dizzy Rascal. And I got a chance to teach 15,000 people to dance, which was amazing. And this is us last week at Westfield, doing the Christmas lights switch on as the warm-up for Rita Ora. So the dance company is kind of going from strength to strength. And out of all of this now, I've also launched our talent agency. So there's now 3 parts to the business. And the agency is getting individuals into TV, film, and theatre. We've already got some kids in West End shows and in some TV programmes, which is amazing. And that's kind of still in its baby stages. And people have said, "Zoe, like, how do you know how to run a talent agency?" I'm like, "I don't, I'm just doing it." So there you go. So Branson. This is me and Branson, and I got involved a couple of years ago with a group called Virgin Media Pioneers, and this is a community for young entrepreneurs. And I was selected by Richard Branson to represent this campaign that he was running. The campaign was about this government startup loan scheme. And basically, he picked me and 2 other people to lobby MPs. We met with David Cameron and pitched this idea of this amazing loan that people could apply for to set up their own businesses. And it's kind of exploded and turned into this beast of £200 million, maybe more now, worth of funding. And it was an amazing experience to be part of this journey. So there's us. And this is actually quite a random story and kind of similar to Alex's, I guess. This happened, and this is in Liverpool. I was talking on a panel with him about young people in business. And right after this happened, we went and had lunch. And I was sitting there, my bag was vibrating, and I looked down, and it was my dad. And I was like, "Oh, Dad, this is not the time to be calling me right now. I'm with Richard Branson." Just kept ignoring it, but he kept ringing. And I was like, "Okay, something's not right." So I went to the toilet, listened to the voicemail. My dad was like, "So I've had a heart attack, I'm in hospital." And I was like, "Oh, shit." Went back in, was like, "Richard, I've got to go. My dad's going to die." So I can laugh about it now. And he was lovely, and he was like, "Oh, I'll get you on the train, let's go, go, go." And he was amazing, his people were amazing. But the humility that he showed me was great. The fact that he is this incredible leader, but yet he's still human and he cares. My dad's fine now, but that was a really scary time. And all of these like dark moments, I feel like, is a common theme today. Everybody has crap to deal with, and it's kind of makes you stronger. You've just got to look at it like that. So yeah, we taught him to dance, which was cool. So he performed at an event, and this is us and a group of my students. He can't dance, but it's all good. And this is me and James Kahn, Branson, and Richard Reed, founder of Innocent, and this was us launching this startup loan scheme. And there was me in blur, but trying to talk about how this is going to kind of change the world. So it was a really cool day. And I've also been really lucky to win some amazing awards. I know these guys have won loads too, but some of my favourites. Last night I was at the Great British Entrepreneur Awards, and I'm a bit hungover, but it was really good. And I, this week, was listed in Elle magazine as top 100 inspiring women, which is cool. Yeah. So just before I finish, I want to talk about the charitable side of what we do. So I'm sure you all remember the riots in 2011, and the city was burning and the media were branding young people as the most unpleasant and potentially violent young people in the world. And I was really upset by this. I saw something very different. I saw a lot of young people crying out for their voices to be heard, and decided I needed to do something. So I put on a show called I Have a Dream, inspired by Martin Luther King's speech, and that launched our charity. And we worked with young people from disadvantaged backgrounds and inspired them through dance and music and acting, and tried to change their lives a little bit, just to inspire them that they can have a future if they believe in themselves. And the charity is developed now, and it's supporting kids that want to come to our school that can't afford it, which is really cool. But I have a wider vision for it, and using the arts as a vehicle to change the world one dance step at a time. So that's kind of my story. Follow me on Twitter too.